Hey everyone, welcome to another AI conversation. I'm joined today by Angel Felismino or
That's right.
Felismino. Yeah, and I don't know, Angel, kailan tayo nakita? I think it was the graduation. Was that the graduation of
FTW,
FTW, right? And
GCash office.
at the GCash office, Angel is a tech recruiter. Maybe I'll let you introduce yourself, Angel, for the few people who haven't met you. So
Sure.
tell us about yourself and your background.
All right. Well, thank you again, Doc, for having me today. My name is Angel Felismino. I'm the Director of Operations at Joseph Riley Recruitment Services. We are a recruitment agency. We differentiate ourselves by focusing on digital technologies. To be specific, cloud, data, and cybersecurity. So I joined the company 2 years ago, during the, I would say, height of the pandemic, because
That's
I
right.
realized the opportunity for the recruitment agency to pivot the business to just focus on digital technologies, because it is obvious that many industries will have to accelerate the digital transformation. So that seemed to be the right decision,
Mhm.
because in the span of 2 years, we we were fortunate to onboard several clients from
Uh,
innovative startup companies all the way to medium-sized businesses and large enterprises, all because they are also leveraging digital technologies.
right.
So yeah, that's the background. So I'm still pretty much hands-on. I still recruit, for for key roles. And when I'm not recruiting, I also, try to attend a lot of events within the same industry. That's why I actually attended the graduation of FTW.
Yep.
And when I saw you, I thought I just need to approach you to introduce myself, because I always hear about you from anything related to data. I kept hearing about your name. So that's why
Okay.
we are here.
Yeah. Well, more than that, I also, as I was saying offline, no, I think this is a great time to start talking about jobs. Kasi, I mean, of course, will always be time to talk about the other aspects of artificial intelligence and
That's right.
technology, data. Pero parang when it comes to finding work, I'm sure people are clueless on how to get it. And maybe hearing from a recruiter firsthand will maybe help them. Tapos may mga ibang tao rin dyan are also recruiters who
Yeah.
struggle to find this talent. I don't know kayo, maybe you guys have a secret sauce. Now we can
Yeah.
talk later about it, no?
Sure,
Does
sure.
that sound like good
Mm.
discussion?
That's right. That's right. Especially now, when a lot of people are also trying to transition from other industries moving to AI. Okay, maybe I'll share some of the current trends within the recruitment industry. What I have observed so far is the implementation of AI for candidate discovery. Like in my case, I actually use a platform where I connected it to our database, and I basically can enter the job description, and I use it to help me find suitable candidates. So it's no longer just keyword search, it's really context search. And I can even ask it to narrow down some of the recommendations to maybe top 10 or top 20. The idea is for me to be able to just focus on those top 20 profiles first before I move on to maybe the next 20 profiles. So that's one. So from the candidate's perspective, you can realize the importance of putting in valuable information on your profiles
Mm.
nowadays.
Mm.
I think gone are the days where a cool one-page CV will do the job.
Di na, no? Di na uso, no? Oo.
AI would have very limited information to use and to really understand about your work experience. So I think we need to start really telling our story, our professional story on our profiles, resumes, and even LinkedIn profiles. So
Yeah.
that's my first recommendation. I talked to some directors who have not been applying for a job, and they were surprised that uh they didn't realize the importance of putting in those information nowadays. Maybe you have confidential information that you cannot put, that's fine. You can always use the generic term for those. But the important thing is help AI platforms to find you. Another
Yeah,
interesting,
maybe
Mhm.
just to jump in, no.
Yeah,
How would or maybe if you can be prescriptive, no? How would a nice CV look like from your perspective?
Oh,
Something
that's
that
right.
sticks out. Oo.
Very interesting. I would say it's always good to have the full picture. Like I actually just recently updated my profile in preparation for an application, for further studies. So what I did is I put in the background of my company, just to give some context, and then um, the objective of the role, because every role actually has reasons why it exists, right? And there's a reason why they hired you. So it's very important that you know the objective of the role. After that, how did what are the things that you did to achieve that objective, and then the outcome. So I think it should no longer be just putting in the work experience, company, title, duration, and then responsibilities. Probably that's not gonna help AI so much to understand, uh, you know, to understand about you as a professional. I think it should be more holistic, where you really describe what's your role, how did you do the activities, and what's the purpose of those activities, and then the outcome. So
Mm.
yeah, that's one way. Another thing would be to maybe put in your, I think this one is quite common already, put in the highlights, qualifications, but most importantly, put in those words that will help the platforms to also match you to jobs, because LinkedIn is one of the most common place where people go to look for jobs, and
Yeah.
they are leveraging AI very much, and they are the number one advocate of skill-based hiring, no longer just qualifications or work experience.
Can you repeat that? Skill-based versus
Skill-based hiring. Okay.
qualifications. Sige nga,
Okay.
can you elaborate on
I
that?
think, Doc, you will agree that the shelf life for tech skills nowadays are a lot shorter compared to 5 years ago, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Hmm. Yeah.
So if it's very short, what needs to happen is we need to continuously upskill, gain new skills, right? So if that is the case, then it is important that we can articulate that to our profile.
Mm.
We put in those skills, new skills that we're learning, because AI will have the idea, or will be able to understand, oh, this person is able to learn new things by himself, by herself, just by putting in a combination of obviously existing skills and then obviously emerging skills, right? So I think those are the information we need to really put
So
on
is
our
it,
profiles.
kasi one of the most common questions, buti nga sagutin mo nga to, from a recruiter standpoint, a lot of people seem to want to accumulate like as many certificates as they want, no? Does that make a difference or not
Certainly.
really? Or
Mm-mm.
anong impact nun if you have
Yeah,
many
I believe
certificates?
it does. Because one, at least there is this third party that really confirms that you completed the course. You can, really uh, uh, achieve the needed fundamentals to gain that skill. I think it's still very useful nowadays. Probably
Mm.
even more useful than attending. I mean, this is probably not the popular vote in the Philippines, but maybe even attending some bachelor's degrees nowadays.
Oo. Oo.
Skills and certifications, I would say.
Mm. What if you're not necessarily like between having a master's degree and having many certificates, what's the parang trade-off, no? I mean, from your perspective.
It depends on what you want to achieve, really. Because there's really no exact formula for every professionals.
Mm.
If you want to be more of a builder, like really closer to the tactical and operational rather
Mm.
than strategical,
Mm.
maybe you need the skills. But if you want to be more strategical and tactical, maybe you need MBA.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so ultimately, it boils down on, what you want to achieve in the next 3 or 5 years,
Parang
I'd
career
say.
planning, no? What you want to
That's
like,
right.
yeah. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Sige, you were saying earlier
Yeah,
about,
actually,
recruitment. Yeah.
one of the interesting thing, or probably uh, uh, product that will be available to a lot of uh, professionals in the coming few weeks. I think it's already launched. I mean, I'm not from LinkedIn. No, I'm not definitely plugging or advertising them. It's just that I attended the fireside chat with the CEO last December. They launched this AI career coach
Mm,
on the platform.
okay.
So all premium users, in a sense, will have that access to an AI-powered
Where's this? LinkedIn? No.
LinkedIn.
Okay. Okay.
So, um, how will it help people on LinkedIn, right? It will be able to help you find the right job for you. It will also guide you in terms of how you should position yourself so that you have higher chance of getting noticed by the company. You have higher chance of getting the job. It will also guide you what are the skills you need to make sure you highlight, in preparation for the interview. It even gives you some idea about the company, you know, so that you can really highlight why you are suitable for the role. So you can imagine that actually is gonna be competing to what recruiters like
Yeah, correct.
are doing and providing to our candidates. That's exactly what we provide to our candidates. So it made me think, so now we have this AI powered, career coach that's gonna be available in the coming few months to a lot of professionals on LinkedIn. How do I make sure that I, as a recruiter, stay relevant in the industry? How can I
Yeah.
continue add value to my candidates? Right? So that's where I realized that probably this is the time where it's even more critical for recruiters like us to humanize talent acquisition.
Yep. Yep.
Right? Because um so I'm gonna ask you, Doc,
Sige, go.
when
Ako
was
naman
the
ang interviewin
last
mo.
time that you
Yeah.
had gotten an interview with a recruiter, with the help of a recruiter?
An interview.
That's
Okay.
right. When was the last
That,
time?
that was a good question. Mga years na rin eh. Kasi I always get these invites, no?
That's right. That's right.
Actually, maybe less than 2 years ago, because what normally happens, because I run a business that's a consulting outfit. What normally happens is sometimes I show up to interview, but actually it becomes a consultancy
That's
arrangement.
right.
So in a way
They
parang
still
business
want to
development.
engage you in one form or the other.
Oo. Pero yung like an actual job interview, matagal na.
Yeah, that's right.
I
But can you
remember
still
there was
remember?
yeah, probably more than almost 10 years ago.
10 years.
Kasi 2024 na,
Okay. Then
2014 na.
maybe I will rephrase my question. When was the last time that you experienced being ghosted by a recruiter?
Roasted o boasted?
Sorry, ghosted.
Ghosted. Marami.
Mhm. Talaga? Even at
Marami.
your level?
Yeah, kasi what happens is if they find out, number one, and this is a very controversial topic minsan, no? Since it's been a while since I was in the corporate world, what I do is I send my last certificate of employment to the recruiter. Well, this was my last salary. So if we're not talking this range, don't let's not even discuss. And usually that knocks them out, no? And then occasionally lulusot, and then only to find out ako na yung magsasabi I'm probably not a good fit for what you're looking for, no? Kasi of course, all due respect to recruitment. I know the pressure can be very high. Pero minsan they'll send me stuff like mid manager. I'm not saying I can't be a mid manager, pero number one, apart from I'm probably beyond the range na, if I'm going to be very strict about salary range. But more than that, I'm sure a younger person could do better in that role. Kasi for me, I'm already in my 40s. Tapos paglalabanin mo ako sa mga 30 at mga 20 anyos. Di ba?
So that's when they start or they would start, like not replying to you.
Di na. I would
Oh,
actually appreciate sana kahit papaano a
that's
polite
right. That's
thank
my
you.
point, though. Imagine
Oo.
at your level, with your connection, with your skills, you are still experiencing recruiters ghosting you.
Nakabwisit, 'di ba? Nakakabwisit. There was
How?
actually a time, can I share lang this? Where I was so pissed off, pero this is a long time ago, na talagang inubos ko lahat ng recruiter sa connections ko. I wiped them out. Dalawa yon, either real estate salesman, insurance salesman, or HR recruiter. Tinanggal
That's
ko lahat
right.
sila. Kasi Walang value eh. And then later
Exactly.
then I allowed it to build up again. Kasi ang nangyayari, and let's all admit this, they wanna connect with me so they can mine my connections. That's how it
Yep.
works, eh, 'di ba?
That's right.
So,
That's really true.
yeah, I'll
I
just cut
mean,
them off. Bahala ka dyan, no?
and that's exactly why I believe this is the time they need to hone the skill of humanizing recruitment.
Mm,
Imagine having a candidate for a director level. That candidate lost the
mm,
job,
mm,
very qualified, but still lost the job because the company pulled out from the Philippines, right?
mm,
Now,
mm.
this person would be attending interviews, of course, will be, very polite and will with humility, if you like, because he needs to secure the next job, right?
Yeah,
And then recruiters will not be telling that person the outcome of the interview just because, they don't think it's necessary. They already have accepted the fact that in the Philippines, oh, if you don't hear from the recruiter, that means you did not get selected.
yeah, yeah.
That
Well, yun na nga eh.
person,
Kahit
right?
papaano,
That
anyway,
that is someone who
oo.
actually is still qualified. Nothing changed, right? That
Yeah,
person is still very qualified, is still contributed to a previous company where he
yeah,
or she used to work for, right?
oo.
It just so happened that this time he needs a job.
Hindi pasok, oo. No, but can I share a story? Kasi there was someone from FTW actually a long time ago and sought advice from me na, hey, I'm applying for this job. Maybe I can get some advice kasi parang pinadalan siya ng parang take-home assignment na in fairness was not easy to do. So, usap kami and then she did it. And then maybe a month later, she comes back and said, I didn't get the job, doc. And sabi ko, okay, there'll be other jobs. And then sinabi niya, this so-and-so person who's an economist, parang may credentials, got the job. Sabi ko, oh, how did you know? They emailed me. And they said, sorry, you're not gonna get the job. The job went to this person with these credentials. And sabi ko, wow, that's an amazing level of transparency. Kasi now you know where you were
Mm,
lacking and you can develop
mm,
yourself, di ba?
yep.
And well, I guess it goes without saying, hindi local company yun. It's a foreign company.
Mm-mm.
And the job
That's
was
right.
a remote job.
Mm-mm.
But I found that interesting. Like parang, hanep, may ganun pa rin palang mga companies or mga
Mm-mm.
recruiters who are willing to give constructive criticism. Kasi when I was doing hiring a long time ago din sa corporate, I would do that din sa mga declines. Like I'll interview them, and then right there and then, kunyari the decision was made, I'll tell them agad, sorry, but I don't think we'll be proceeding with you at this time. Siyempre,
Mm-mm.
bagsak yung mukha nila. But then, here's some ideas where you were lacking, no? This. And they found that one of them went back maybe a day or two na nag-thank you
Mm-mm.
siya na, hey, thank you for sending me the feedback. At least I know I'm guided on what I can do better. And then maraming mga recurring issues then sa
Mm-mm.
candidates now that we can talk about mamaya. But in that circumstance, natuwa
Mm-mm.
yung candidate. So I think you
That's
owe
right.
them that eh. You should owe them that. You have to
We
tell them
need,
eh. Hmm.
especially now. I think the good thing about AI being implemented, and it really becomes mature in the next few, maybe not next 3 to 5, maybe just next year, right? It can become mature and really implemented in the various phases of, or maybe touch points of the recruitment process. So hopefully, all those automations and AI will give them more time to spend time with the candidates and the
Hmm.
stakeholders. I think that's what I'm trying to say is, humanizing it. That means spending more time talking to the candidates, giving feedback, and also going back to the stakeholders and giving feedback, just providing the feedback loop.
Yeah.
Because I think that's still where we can add value. And I have this question again for you, Doc. You probably are the best person to ask about this. Let's say, let's say AI, right? It becomes really fully mature, and that product of LinkedIn, the AI coach, it also becomes really fully effective.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be happy to say that, oh, I have a very good relationship with this AI career coach of
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn? Do you think we will reach a stage where having a good relationship with an AI platform is gonna be almost similar to having a good relationship with a human being
Recruiter, oo.
a recruiter?
Well
Do you think
well,
we
to
will reach
be
that stage?
well, I don't know. I'm a little biased on both sides. Number
Mm.
one, honestly, I haven't had a good relationship with the recruiter. It's usually very transactional and
That's right.
oo. I mean, on balance, I'm sure there are some recruiters who are pretty good, but I've just eluded them. Like for example, in my last high profile role, I had two recruiters hiring me for that role, and then later it collapsed into alam mo yung mga sulutan, and then syempre the company owes both recruiters the placement fee, 'di ba? Nagkaroon ng ano pa yon, nagkaroon ng scandal pa yon. So I said, what? The recruiters talaga ang hirap kausap. So, my bias is there. I'm sure meron namang magaganda. Like, I know some people, they really have parang meron silang stable of headhunters. Pag ayaw na nila sa trabaho, they'll ring up the headhunter. So, guys, hanapin mo naman ako. So, I think I've eluded that, unfortunately, only because of my history then. Like, I spent too long in my one job, tapos yung mga succeeding jobs were kind of short. Then, nag-entrepreneur na ako. So, talagang I haven't had a chance to build long-term relationships with recruiters. Now, on the other side naman, could we develop a good relationship with an AI? I think we could kasi ang analogy ko diyan is social media eh. Social media is in a way a
That's right.
form of it's a form of AI already. And
If
like for
you're getting
example,
value
yeah,
from
like
it, right?
LinkedIn. I like LinkedIn on the direct messaging, no?
Mm.
And I hope this doesn't invite a lot of people to message me, pero I tend to put a better parang a higher premium on cold messages from LinkedIn
That's right.
as opposed to Twitter and Facebook. Twitter and
See?
Facebook cold message guaranteed fraud yan eh, guaranteed scam. Pero sa LinkedIn, siguro mga 80% may
Mm.
halaga. 20% meron ding scam,
True.
pero not as
True.
many, no. And I think
See?
it's because of the transparency eh.
Mm-mm.
If you know who they're connected to, then
Mm.
they won't really, mess with you. Kaya nga natatawa ako sa mga tao who are very secretive on LinkedIn. Sabi ko, and yet in the same breath, they're willing to share kung anong kinain nila for breakfast sa Facebook or share some political memes on Twitter. Sabi ko, baliktad dapat. You should be super secretive on Facebook and Twitter,
Mm,
but
mm-mm.
open on
Mm.
LinkedIn. Kasi that's your livelihood, no?
That's
That's
right.
your
That's right.
wow. So anyway, kanya-kanyang style, syempre.
Yeah, that's right. That's why I think. But the thing is, like what you said, right? You don't have good relationship with recruiters based on your experience, and it's very understandable.
Mm.
But it is something that we need to really work on and improve, because if the shelf life for skills is short, that means people will keep moving for a lot of reasons, right? Most of them, they will move, of course, not only because of salary. Most of the time, it's also because they want to gain new exposure, right? So
Mm.
people will move regardless of how happy they are. They will still move, because if they
I
feel
have
that they
a
are stagnant, right, they will
I
still
have a
move.
perspective on that, no? Buti na banggit mo. So, yes,
Mm.
generally shelf life is short, but depends on what skill. So, yung mga sinasabi mong tech
Soft
skills,
skills will be very
oo.
good, di
Yeah,
ba? Pero hard skills, yung
oo.
malikling
Yeah,
shelf
kunyari yung
life.
mga any software will have version 1, 2, 3, eventually you get outdated. But for example, data architecture, hindi naman
Mm-mm.
napapanis 'yon.
That's right.
Nag-iiba lang yung mga platforms. And then yung soft skills, you brought that up. That's good kasi I think that's the number one weakness of many, if not all, tech, lalo
That's
tech,
right.
tech
Mm-mm.
professionals.
Mm-mm.
And unfortunately or fortunately, that is for me, one of the strongest skills that could get you a job. Can you
Mm-mm.
talk properly? Can you explain
Exactly.
problem? Can you do a problem in front?
Mm-mm.
Na-weirdohan ako
Mm.
niyan a long time ago eh kasi when I was entering the workforce, ano pa lang, super early days pa lang ng call centers. As in, isa pa lang yata yung, and
Oh,
I think,
nakita ko nga sa profile mo.
one of the first call centers yung nag-interview sa akin. Okay? And I found it alien talaga. Kasi the first test was dictation. Merong, I don't know kung AI na yun at that time, pero may voice. And then you try to capture as many details as you can from dictation. Dami yan. Da, da, da,
Okay.
da, 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 da. So I guess I passed that. Next test was interview. And I'm sure this is a common question. Tinanong nila ako without Googling, tell us how heavy a 747 is. And I didn't
740.
kasi the airplane, Boeing
Oh.
747. So syempre, you'll go by analogy.
Ah.
You'll know the average weight of a human is 100 whatever pounds, and 747 has 400 people in it. So then by default, you'll have 400 seats, and a seat will probably be as heavy as a human. Parang ganon. I don't know how far I was to the actual answer, pero it was the first time I've ever been interviewed where they really test yung ano mo, yung cognitive mo. How do you arrive at a conclusion? Can you do problem solving? It was so
Mm.
amazing. Then you had the voice test where
Oo.
you literally need to talk to a phone or a mic, and then they will measure how intelligible you are. And then actually at the end of the day, I didn't take the job. Kasi nung time na yon, ang stigma ng call center is, ano ba yan? Nag-aral ka ng college to become a telephone operator. Pero naalala ko pa the people who I was with in that first batch of that company. Oh my God, mga big time na ngayon. They became operations heads, division heads. Some of them own a BPO of their own. So I really missed that BPO gold rush, no? Kasi I came out of school with an accounting background. I wanted to become a finance person. The first jobs I took were more or less finance, banking. Pero I was wondering, had I taken that job, ano kaya nangyari sa akin? And then the funny part was, nagtagpo din kami ng BPO sector later on
Ah.
kasi I ended up working for a BPO na bank, no, yung captive na BPO. And I realized, ganito pala yung mundo sa BPO, is highly structured, highly standardized, very ladderized. Actually, I found that convenient as opposed to the, unstructured format
Mm.
minsan ng mga local companies na hindi mo alam kung mamumuliti ka ba to climb the ladder. And then that was helpful for me when I became an entrepreneur kasi the discipline, lalo na I actually learned people management most effectively in the BPO. Kasi they gave us really good training on coaching, leading, time management. Yan yung mga soft skills na, wow, where are you gonna pick that up, no? So I would argue I became a better manager, an executive, after my BPO stint. And that was also one of the most senior roles I ever took, no? At
Mm.
the time I left, I had 150 staff under my division. And then biglang individual contributor ulit ako sa IT
Mm.
in my last job. My last job was with an IT company. Pero hindi ko nakalimutan yung yan, people management. Nakatulong naman din sa akin kasi that last IT job, although I was a technical role, it was for sales, no? So ako yung taga-demo, ako yung taga-explain sa client kung para saan ba tong software na to. So that was alien to me also kasi I had never been a salesperson, no? But I appreciated that. In fact, if you had asked me earlier on, would you like to do a sales-related job? I would have said, no, ayoko magbenta. Hindi yan para sa akin. Only to realize, wow, decade later,
Dun din.
babalik din pala doon, and that would have been something I would have learned, it would have been helpful. Kasi isa pang weakness din ng mga tech people is they can't sell themselves. They can't sell
Yes, yes,
themselves. They
yes.
can't sell their skills. And ngayon, baliktad na, no? I can't say I'm really good, but I quite enjoy the sales process.
Mm.
And even with the work I'm doing now, which is partly advocacy, partly training, like this podcast, in a way, I bring my parang knowledge of business development and and mentoring and coaching into this, no. And now hopefully it's helping other people. So
Mm.
that would be my first tip to any tech professional: learn how to sell early,
That's right.
learn soft
So
skills
it
early.
really goes to show, no? In the advent of AI, these kind of skills are really crucial,
Oo, hindi
no?
mawawala, hindi mawawala.
Yung mga ini-skip ng mga uh, technology inclined na professions na they will realize ito yung kailangan natin right now. Ito
And
yung transferable.
to be fair to them, no, they really enjoyed learning yung mga tech stuff. It's very
Mm-mm.
addictive. It feels
That
like a game kasi you learn how to
it is.
code, you build software, or you debug, alam mo yun, or actually some of the jobs are
Although I
actual
encourage
gaming.
people to learn yung coding, not because of the coding itself, kundi yung the way developers usually think, kung paano sila mag-come up with yung codes nila, yung logic. I think that is really good skill then to acquire.
Ako, I'm a self-taught developer, no?
Mm-mm.
By incidental lang. And I can say it's very liberating
By the
once
time matapos natin tong convo na interview ko, alam na nung iba recruiter, pwede
oo.
dan ulit.
I mean, that's good, no? Parang when I learned how to code my own solutions, kahit sa work lang mga automations, it's very liberating. Kasi
Mm-mm. Mm.
isa rin yung I would say misnomer on my end. Although I actually started coding at a very young age, as early as 6 years old because of yung isang computer na binili ng father ko. But I never went into computer science or IT.
Mm.
Mas napunta ako sa business side. But I never lost that pang intuition, no? And then later on, nung nag-graduate ako, kasi I took accounting, graduated, may mental state na ako na ayoko mag-code. Bigay mo na yan sa mga devs. Ganun na Parang your condition, I'll just stick to the business side. And then only to keep running into the same problem again and again kasi I went into banking. Now, I want to automate this solution. The IT people don't understand me. Ako na nga lang gagawa.
Oo,
And then,
na-realize mo you have to
yeah, and then
roll up
I
your sleeves, no?
self-teach. Yeah, I self-learned, did it myself. And then I realized, wow, napaka-liberating.
Yep.
Napaka-liberating. So if you're a business person, you learn how to dev. Or if you're a developer and you learn the business side, the hybrid profile, very good. I
That's
can
right,
say
that's
that's
right.
probably the best approach to careers. Kasi ang hirap din ma-box in sa mga, alam mo yung mga, sorry to say it, mga tumandang dev. Mga, ang tingin sa'yo ng mga tao, oh, you're an old developer. Even though you're updated, I actually met someone who couldn't find a job anymore. Kasi nga, lahat ng mga nomenclature na ginagamit yan, mga, kunyari sa web development, mga React, mga Angular, mga ganyan, mga Django, hindi na niya alam. Although he knew JavaScript and he knew Python base. And I think it wouldn't take him long enough to learn those new fancy code names, no? Pero he was being eliminated from the running palagi. Number one, medyo
Mm-mm.
may edad na siya. So the job will go to some 20-year-old who knows
Yeah.
React as opposed to some 40-year-old who doesn't know React but knows JavaScript. Even though in a way on balance parang mas okay yung may edad kasi they have more experience ganyan. Pero hindi nai-eliminate sila. Ikaw, do you feel have you encountered those parang
Well,
mga
we
cases?
don't ask we, one of our frameworks, I mean very critical sa framework namin for finding candidates, no, or interviewing them. We don't ask for age and marital status.
Para no
Sa
bias.
last part na yun, as in salary review stage na, in preparation na for dollar reporting, to be honest.
Mm.
Kasi the moment na alaman namin yung age, magkakabias eh.
For sure.
So,
Do you also remove pictures? Kasi iba
oo,
mahilig maglagay ng
it's
mga
not
one
important right
half
now.
shot photo, no?
Although, starting this year, I actually, I mean, for the whole team, we implemented this new approach where we need to meet all candidates in person or at least MS Teams. So again, we will see the person, then alam na namin kung matured o medyo on the senior side na. Medyo may bias na definitely na mangyayari pag ganun na naging scenario. But there's a reason why we're doing that. First of all, we realized again, how can we build relationship with candidates and understand what they're looking for if we don't at least, get to see them and make them comfortable about talking to us. Kasi I don't know if you already have seen a platform, Doc, na can really ask a person, what's your dream job? I don't know if it's corny or cliche, or if recruiters are still asking you that kind of question. But we have started asking that question this year. Kasi what happened to our company is we're moving to higher level roles. Past
Okay.
2 years,
Mas senior
this
na.
is very interesting. Past 2 years, we were doing quite well. There's plenty of development jobs. Starting 2023, there's a really significant shift that happened in the industry. I don't have the data yet to prove if it's an impact of AI, but what I have seen is the kind of job orders I receive from my clients. There's a drastic decline for the software developer jobs.
Talaga?
Yes,
That's
majority
interesting.
of my jobs during 2022
Yung sa
really
inventory
are
mo,
developer
hindi
roles.
na devs. Oh my God. Is that a
Developer
good thing or
roles,
a bad thing?
sobrang dami. Right now, no, 2023 drastic. Karamihan ng roles, solution architecture and above,
Okay.
or cybersecurity.
Mm. So there's a shift,
Nabawasan,
no, in the market.
sobrang bawas. So we have to react to that change. That's
Mm.
why starting this year, we really are focusing on those senior, solution architect and above positions, because we realize that's where we can add value.
Mm.
And we are starting to really talk to people about, what's the dream job for you, because at least we can point you, maybe this is not the dream job, but at least it's closer to your dream job, di ba?
Yeah.
Because I
Yeah.
think that's where we can really still continue to be useful in the recruitment industry. I really think AI will touch a lot of touch points sa recruitment.
Yeah.
And it makes things a lot easier, and it also remove biases. Yan yung beauty pa ng AI eh. It can remove biases eh. We'll purely look at experience, di ba? Qualifications, and that's what we want para everybody will have the opportunity. Right? Probably we will reach a stage where corporates will have this scorecard, and it will be difficult for them to not entertain a candidate who actually have very good ratings according to their dashboard or scorecard.
Mm. Mm.
Right? So I think that's good. So that people like, the one you mentioned earlier, na because he's
Senior.
senior,
Mm.
di ba? Napi-filter out ng mga recruiters because of the age. Because it's really happening.
Yeah.
Right? So kung ang concern ng iba is baka yung culture hindi siya mag-fit doon sa dynamic, o challenge niyo yung yung scorecard ng AI natin. Sabi dito based doon sa mga test natin, kaya kaya mag-fit, agile pa rin. So
But
paano
wait, how
i-challenge
much of
yan?
that is on your end and how much of that is in the, what do you call this, the client? Kasi baka naman yung client ang nagdi-discriminate.
Well, the good recruiters should be able to
Convince.
influence yung client,
Mm.
to take into consideration what's happening in the market. Because if we have the data, we have, the experience from the ground,
Mm.
and we are communicating that to the client, at the very minimum, they should at least consider yung recommendations ng recruiters. But I guess, like, what you have observed, many recruitment agencies, many recruiters don't really put an effort to add value. It's very transactional, unfortunately.
Mm.
So, I'm hoping that many companies will start to realize that if they stay on that track, being transactional and generalist, it will be difficult for them to sustain a career in recruitment.
Yeah. Yeah.
It will be really difficult. What will happen is more and more people will have to either, shift to other types of role or go in-house. Being external agency will be a challenge for them.
I have a question on that front.
Yeah.
So, syempre most people to go through headhunters are employees, no? Is there a market with headhunters for people who want to do parang yung mga fractional roles? Kasi nauuso na ngayon yan, yung mga fractional CPO, part-time roles, mga ganyan. Is that something headhunters can also source for or not necessarily?
Not much. So far, puro platforms, parang marketplaces pa rin yung really effective for that one.
Yeah.
Yung mga Upwork, di ba? Sila pa rin, because right now yung business model for recruitment agencies is, they are being engaged for those jobs that actually requires for a company either to hire for full-time or a project-based duration. Although I think other recruitment agencies are starting to work on those really short-term projects. I guess there's really no one that will stop them from pursuing that. But in terms of how popular that is in the Philippines, probably not yet. The most effective ones are still the platforms or marketplaces, I think.
That's good knowledge to know. Kasi I'm sure I think it's still skewed towards employment. Pero more and more dumadami na itong mga
Pero Doc,
also
I think
informal
that will be
roles.
the direction then. I think that will be because more and more companies are struggling to find really capable leaders, managers. So sometimes what happens is they probably will engage a person, like as a consultant,
Yeah.
so that at least they have access to what this person can do, can contribute, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think it's like a sharing economy, if you like,
Mm-mm.
right? Um, I don't know, are we ready for that one? Are we prepared? Kasi right now, majority of the industries, they still are concerned about uh
Security.
people who are moonlighting sa
Mm.
Philippines. That's still a concern
Mm.
Although not many people talk about it compared in India, no? But
Dumadami
I have
na
some
ako,
clients.
dumadami na yung kakilala kong nagpa-fractional role, no?
Mm-mm.
Ako naman, I offer fractional role as part of my consultancy.
Yep.
So it's not really for employment. Pero I know a number of people who are actually full-time into fractions. Parang kumbaga they balance their time across 2 or 3 companies at a time.
Mm-mm.
And depending on where you sit, no, on that parang debate, actually a lot of full-time roles are a big waste of time, no? As in 60% of your time is spent really doing nothing, no? And or not doing anything productive.
That will
And
be very interesting to explore further.
yeah, I mean lalo na sa ano, as you get to the senior executive level. I think it depends din kasi if you were hired to be more of an inspirational leader, and ironically, the salaries are quite high at that level, no? And you're more of a thought leader, sarap ng buhay mo. Pero even on the kind of senior mid level, um, it's strategy kasi. And you're really dependent on everyone else around you to push the strategy, to motivate them. Or merong iba, they're really meant to unlock parang ano, a bottleneck in an organization, no?
That's
Parang
right.
puno na yung plantilla, somehow it doesn't move. So they'll hire this parang random agent, which is a
Maybe a disruptor there.
a disruptor,
Disruptor,
vice
di ba?
president.
Agent of change, di ba? That could
Uh,
be one way to look at it
then
there.
tatalon-talon ka doon to
Mm-mm.
incite the entire group. Pero yun na nga eh, I think there's a balance to that also.
Mm-mm.
Kasi freelancing is really the kalaban of employment. No?
That's right. That's
Freelancing.
right. Mm.
And then lalo na sa BPOs, I work very closely with BPOs. They're actually very worried about the freelance community kasi
No.
they tend to steal jobs and roles from the proper BPO sector. So it's fascinating how they see that as a threat. Tapos it's not governed, it could give the Philippines a bad name. So I think yun yung dalawang parang ano parang big pillars no?
That's right. That's
Oo.
right. That's why it will be interesting to see how it will pan out in the coming few years. Definitely, it's an ongoing disruption. Industries after industries, business model after business models.
Mm-mm.
That's why I think yung right now what we can do sa part natin is at least for me sa agency namin we're focusing more on building relationships. Kasi Doc, how do you right now, correct me if I'm wrong, is there a way to automate ambitions, fear? Is that something you really can, maybe discuss with an AI and be really happy and confident with the outcome of the decision or the discussion? And not only that, we also have to realize not all information are online. I think the value of AI is using those publicly available online information, right? But really
Mm-mm.
good recruiters, really good recruitment agencies, they have information about hiring managers,
Mm-mm.
clients that actually impacts the decision making when it comes to who's gonna get the job, right? Which candidate will be selected, and that's we
Yeah.
can add value. That's where we can add value because we have good understanding of the hiring managers involved in the selection process, and that's something we can communicate to the candidate during our confidential discussion. So I think we can still leverage on those offline information.
Mm-mm.
Um,
No, if there's one
Basically,
thing I
yeah.
wanna say about that, no? Kasi eh, net kulang pa rin yung candidates to fill the jobs. So any chance you can get to fill a role, you should take it. I think the question lang is, as you pointed out, to what end, no? Do you want to grow in that company? Do you want to retire in that company? Kasi once upon a time, that's how I wanted to spend my career.
Mm,
Spend it in one company, grow, retire, and then when you have a surplus, start investing. So employment investor ang labas.
mm,
It didn't pan out for me, although I was doing a bit of that already
mm,
because
mm,
um some jobs are really not conducive to creative thinking talaga, no? Lalo na if you're
Yes.
in a very traditional
Yes.
organization. So I ended up bumping around, in that organization. Although I had a very senior title, and it didn't feel like a very senior parang position. Only to get pirated by another organization. And then yun na, no, going to a BPO. Where suddenly you're given, number one, a proper evaluation of your tasks. Dumoble bigla sweldo ko eh, which was unheard of, no? And then over that next 3 years, two and a half din yung So it's doubling of doubling, no?
Grabe.
I'm wondering if that means I was so undervalued siguro
Oo.
back in the day. And then when I went to my last corporate job, doon ko naman naramdaman yung value of variable pay. So the base pay increased from where I came from, pero yung variable pay, wow. Kasi sales related eh. So if you close a transaction, you get a bonus.
Oo.
So you really learn the value of talagang being capitalist, being a mercenary, na you tend to measure your career na in terms of the deals you close.
That's
At
right. That's
at least in that sense, no.
Mm-mm.
Then that was an excellent preparation for entrepreneurship. Kasi I'm a
Mm-mm.
late bloomer. I became an entrepreneur late 30s na, early 40s. And
First venture mo ba yung Cyrillytics?
oh yeah, on my own. Although sinabay ko yan with another company. So I founded two companies sabay. I was a co-founder in one, a founder in the other. Not a good idea. And what I ended up doing was selling out of the other company. And then yung konting proceeds na nakuha ko doon, pinasok ko na sa Cyrillytics. You can't be a part-time founder. So ibang usapan din yan, no? And then later, I parang na-review ko rin yung experience of recruitment kasi I was also hiring, no, for my
That's
startup.
right.
And I guess maybe long story short, one thing entrepreneurs need to also adjust to is not everyone thinks like an entrepreneur. So when you meet people, they're gonna want a salary from you and a job.
Yes.
And you get a lot of grief when people don't get paid on time, blah blah blah, which is sometimes some of the challenges of a startup. Na the founder takes that risk or the CEO takes that risk. And then later may parang happy middle where you get to meet other freelancers then willing to collaborate, sanay sila sa seasonal income. And then now you're bringing out the creativity. So may ganon. And I think ano rin eh, may magsa-cycle din yan. Kunyari you build a venture that gets big enough, then definitely you need to populate that with other ano rin, with other parang people who are also looking for a break, no. Naalala ko to kasi when I was still in my yung one of my earlier jobs, somebody tapped me who was an entrepreneur. Actually, it happened twice. One was I was early in my career. And the other one was medyo ano na ako, graduate na ako to my last few jobs. And hindi ko naintindihan yung mga entrepreneur na nakausap ko. Kasi parang they were saying, um, what value do you bring? And I was thinking in terms of, I have a proven track record. You see my CV. I've occupied these jobs. I got promoted. Hindi ko naintindihan yung sinasabi nila about
Anong
value.
value, no?
Oo. And until later, nung ako na yon, na-gets ko na, oo nga naman, there's this, hotshot punk na nagkataon lang maganda yung title niya from this company, as referring to myself, no? Pero ang pinapakita lang niya sa akin is, mataas ang sweldo niya at napopromote siya palagi. I could not see how this person will benefit my business.
That's right.
And most employees don't think that way. They only think about the money they need to get paid. Otherwise, hindi sila alis sa trabaho nila. But they're not here to promise anything about revenue, about, growth. 'Di ba? Kasi for me, you go to an entrepreneur and you say, "Hey, look, you have to pay me 300,000 a month or half a million a month or 1 million a month, whatever, no, some galactic number. But in return, I'll double your sales, or in return, I will
Yeah,
increase revenue by 30%.
that's right.
Because I know how to do it from whatever it is, whether it's IT or sales or ganyan." Yun yung value. And then,
Mm-mm.
assess na lang nung mag-hire sa'yo, are you worth the risk? Di ba?
Mm-mm.
Parang, sige, tatayaan kita. Parang ganun din naman yung hiring manager, di ba? Okay,
That's right.
ano ba asking salary niya? Ito yung range natin.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Pero ito yung gusto kong magawa. Can this person deliver that?
That's right.
So negotiations don't stop at the salary.
Mm-mm.
It's about the value.
Mm-mm. That's
And
why that's one of the things na we need to be asking for us yung pag may job calibration, job intake, like yung how does the technology intends to solve yung business problems. Kasi technology for the sake of having this technology is not really the objective, di ba?
Oo, oo.
It's what kind of problems you're solving and of course, the value that it brings after solving that problem. Totally
Tama.
agree. I think that's probably some of the trainings. Maybe what should happen, no? Because you mentioned earlier yung build user and then training, no? BULT. Um,
Yeah, let's talk about that, no?
Yeah,
I don't
perhaps
think people have
pala
heard
Doc
of
'no,
that, no?
lahat yata ng mga tech bootcamp whatever talagang kailangan may aspect talaga ng, meron nga akong tinatawag na quadrant Doc, eh.
Mm,
Yung quadrant ko I call it yung soft skill, hard skill, domain knowledge and business knowledge.
mm.
I think a really good professional 'pag naghahanap ako ng candidate for really senior leadership position, tina-try ko siyang tignan kung na-cover niya at least yung 4 na yun.
Those
Soft
four
skill, hard
aspects.
skill,
Mm.
domain knowledge, and business knowledge. Kasi if not, it will be difficult for that person to turn things around dun sa business nung client ko eh. 'Di ba? Kung purely technical skill, purely domain knowledge, pero hindi naman niya ma-connect yung impact nun sa business, paano i-go-grow yung business, hindi masyadong justify yung return of investment.
Yeah, at
So yun.
saka talking about BULT, no, I haven't talked about this yet, so this will be
Mm,
the first time I will announce it. It's in the context of AI adoption, but if you think about it, it's any adoption of any technology. Nakataon lang na AI is the current.
mm,
And kaya tawag BULT, builder, user, leader, and trainer, both. And only because, lalo sa artificial intelligence, most of the training is on the builders. So builders are the technical people, data
that's right.
analysts, data scientists, AI engineers, data engineers, software developers. They need the technical training to manipulate and handle all of these AI, software and solutions. Pero they're not the only people you need to train, no? You need to train the user then. Sila yung mag-a-adapt eh.
Exactly.
Or if all of your training is on the AI builder and no one is training the AI user, wala, no? And the user will need skills related to deploying and using the tools. So, kunyari, in AI, it's prompt engineering. Di
Mm,
pa yan masyadong matunog ngayon, but I'm sure it will be very soon. And also in problem solving, critical thinking. That's all useful as a user. A leader is someone who will then be implementing AI or any technology as part of some digital transformation. No? Kasi currently, mano-mano yan or barok. How do you put the AI there? And that requires a very different type of training. Use cases, design thinking, systems thinking, communication. Kasi you were in change management, you will be moving people through a continuum of change. And then finally, na-realize ko lang, these three are still kind of the actual labor or resources that you use for AI. But you need someone to train them, no?
yeah.
So, yung trainer, and when I look at, sino ba yung mga
Mm,
nagte-trainer, yung mga gumagawa ng workshop or mga school teachers,
mm,
they are not equipped. They are not
mm,
equipped to teach artificial intelligence, no? Now, I'm not saying they don't know the subject matter.
mm,
Maybe they come from ComSci or IT. But I'm thinking in terms of the teaching method, the pedagogy,
mm,
the approach, having been a teacher and a trainer myself, iba yung level of not just passion and dedication, but yung method. Meron talagang tama at maling method na pagturo.
mm,
And yung typical teacher who struggles actually teaching people, 1, 2, 3, ABC. And then you give them AI, nako, it's a disaster waiting to happen in my case. Kaya yun yung apat. And then in varying ano rin yan, population. Siguro the smallest population is the builders. And then you need a large population of trainers. Siyempre, multiplier effect. And then yung pinakamalaki is the user and the leader. Sila yung madla. Across
mm,
all
mm,
across all teams, all companies, all institutions, you'll need those
mm,
four profiles to thrive. So ayun lang, I just wanted to share that kasi
mm,
yun nga I'm actually minsan napapagod nga ako listening to yung mga colleagues ko minsan sa AAP or people who are into AI. They're really just talking to the builders eh. No one is looking at everywhere else. Tapos mamaya mo pag mahina yung
Na-involve 'no, sa buong
oh, mamaya mo
ecosystem.
later pag mahina yung pick up, iyak naman, no? Sasabi ko,
Mm-mm.
But anyway, it's still early days. I'm actually trying to
True.
convince the BPO sector for that. I'm working
Mm-mm.
closely with IBPAC, for example, to tell them na if you want to retool the call center industry to do this, you need the BULT for the call center industry to move them, no? And right now, it's none, no? It's very sparse. But
Mm-mm.
that's an opportunity for us, no? If we want to
Mm-mm.
recruit in that space or train in that space, yun yung bawi mo.
Mm-mm. Certainly. Especially I totally agree dun sa training part. Especially at this stage where we are still trying to transition people. Di ba pag magta-transition ka, ideally kasi di ba, you will look at dun sa existing talent pool and you will reskill them or upskill them. So, yung success kasi nun nakasalalay din dun kung gaano ka-effective yung training na ipaprovide. So, very important din talaga na yung spotlight hindi lang nasa build, kundi
Mm.
pati dun sa ibang aspects na na-mention mo nga. Mm.
Yeah.
Yep, yep. It would be great to see
Ikaw,
how
in
that
your
contributed.
experience, how many builders, users, and leaders do you meet sa mga
Karami
roles, no?
tama yung observation mo, on point siya. Yung spotlight talaga nasa build.
Oo.
And then maybe slightly sa leader. Yung users nga hindi nga masyado pinag-uusapan yan eh.
Mm.
Yun yung reality. Pag-uusapan ba yan during the interview about, kasi ito yung target namin ng mga customers ng mga users. Hindi. They will mention customer-centric as part of the soft skill, pero focus is yung ability to build. Yung pa
Yeah.
rin nga, I mean, that's very on point na observation
I
na
think
where we are right
government is
now.
blinded by that din eh. Parang ra STEM 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 tayo. And
Mm,
then again, no
mm,
disrespect to the STEM people. There's not enough of you. But at the
mm.
same time, yung kakakonting STEM people can't communicate with the broader user base. So nakakatawa, no?
Is it because mas tangible yung sa part ng build pagka na-transition yung mga yung resources, yung talents, they have the skills para mas tangible kasi syempre kapag marunong ka na mag-build, parang it goes to show you also know how to use it. Maybe and
Not
it maybe goes
necessarily.
to that's
Not
that's
necessarily.
that's that's the
Oh,
thing, right?
that's
It's
the
not
assumption.
necessarily.
Kasi
Pero parang
ang
it goes to
analogy ko
show, di
diyan,
ba?
ang analogy ko diyan parang kotse yan eh. Just because you can change spark plugs doesn't mean you
Doesn't
can
mean.
drive in the Formula 1, 'di ba? And vice versa. Just because kaya mong patumblingin yung kotse ng tama doesn't
Mm.
mean you can change oil. Iba yung mekaniko, iba yung
Oo, true.
driver. So, yung mga
Mm.
builder, mga mekaniko yan. Of course, many of them probably also drive,
Mm.
pero their focus will be on the engine, while the user,
Mm.
the focus will be on the driving, on the using. Yun talaga yung ano.
That's right, that's right. Okay, well, I also have probably my last final curious question, Doc.
Mm.
Siguro, this one is, para lang din matingnan ko siya, no, sa akin. Sa
In
industry
your
ko.
in your in your
Sa
in your
industry ko,
industry.
no, curious ako. What will make you, continue to talk to recruitment agencies in
Mm-mm.
terms of, trusting or entrusting them with your next move? I mean, kunyari, ikaw yung professional na you're thinking of, moving, maybe not anytime soon, but maybe few years from now, di ba?
Yeah. I think
What do
may
you
ano
look
yan eh.
for?
May ano yan, may relationship yan with back when I was in banking. There's such a thing as mass banking, consumer banking, and then may private banking, no? And the only difference is they offer the same products. Maybe mga private bankers have access to special stuff. Pero the approach of private banking is very one is to one, very relationship oriented. Pupunta ka sa private bank, ibang lobby yon, bibigyan ka ng kape. Unlike yung typical banking transaction, pila ka dyan, good luck kung makakuha ka ng numero, and yun, diba? And
True.
banking hours are only up to 4. Private banking can be 24 hours actually.
That's right.
So,
Mm,
at my stage in my career, I wanna get the private banking
mm,
recruiter, someone who can guide me. And here's the fun part, no? I actually get better career advice from AI than any recruiter I've met, no? Kasi paano yung sinasabi mo AI assistant sa LinkedIn? I've done that with ChatGPT, no? Actually, hindi, Chat PDF, one of my favorite apps. I uploaded my CV and I just asked, given this CV, can you give 5 areas for development? Or give me 5 career, parang directions. And binigay niya. And those are interesting, ah. Tapos kukuha ako ng job description from the web, then ipipaste ko dun sa chatbot. Can you assess the fit of this CV to this job description? Lalabas niya. Parang, okay, you might struggle here. This one is within your experience. So I feel that parang to hit two questions with one stone, with artificial intelligence, there is an opportunity for recruiters to have that private banking relationship, not just with senior people like myself, but with anyone. Kasi nga,
That's right.
you're now assisted by AI. You can tailor your conversation to, oh, Angel, given your background now, mukhang ito na yung next step for you. And I have three
That's
options
right.
for you. And here are the various types of companies. And ito yung mga naririnig ko about them, blah, blah, blah. The last time I felt that was actually when I was being recruited for a major media company, just not to narrow it down. And it was the head of HR who was recruiting. And ginaguide talaga ako. Kumbaga, in-interview mo na niya ako, and then nagets niya, okay, you've passed our filter. Looks like you're an able candidate, but we have to convince internal management that you're viable. Tapos talagang schedule niya ako for interviews across the board. And then binigyan niya ako ng background. Okay, here's the background of the people you're gonna meet, blah, blah, blah. Some of them are Ivy League trained, ganyan, ganyan. And then sinabi niya, this is where your Cornell University certificate makes sense kasi you can talk Ivy League, ganyan, ganyan. Sabi ko, okay, may ganun pala. And unfortunately, or again, fortunately, hindi ako natuloy. And I think I dodged the bullet kasi apparently I don't think they ever hired for that job ever. Parang no one qualified. And then again, without revealing who the company is, later on they got involved in a major brouhaha on TV. And I saw them on TV explaining what happened to them, ganyan ganyan. Sabi ko, oh my gosh, if I went into that job, mali mo naman, 'di ba? I would be there talking to the media right now
That's
about
right.
about that company, no. And so hindi mo masabi, no? Parang
True.
even with a very good recruitment experience, pwedeng wala pa ring kalabasan. But I think the nice thing is I really enjoyed that.
The experience, di ba?
And actually, naging panangga ako finally to the head of HR. Hey, look, it doesn't look like it's going to work out. I appreciate the effort. So as not to waste your time, I just want to let you know I'll be quitting my current job anyway, but I'll be starting two companies. So I don't think I'll have time to actually entertain future work as of this moment. And that
That's
was
right.
more than 10 years ago na. No? So sabi ko, kung babalik ako dyan, I need to, kumbaga, also mentally prepare myself. No? Kasi some interviews can be downright demeaning and annoying and talagang papakiramdaman mo eh. Syempre, the advantage is on the hiring company na bakit sino ka ba? Why should we hire you? May mga ganong pa-ek-ek sila eh. And ako naman, well, this is what I am, this is what I've done, this is what I'd like to do. If there's a fit, let's make it happen. This is what it will cost to bring me aboard. And this is what I can do in return for that investment, no? Kumbaga, ako pa yung nag-annualize sa kanila. This is my annual salary. And this is where I think I can bring you. Kaya usually nagiging consultancy na lang na, Doc, hindi namin kaya, pero baka we can retain you as a consultant. Yeah, certainly. So
That's right.
nagiging sales pitch yung interview.
Yeah,
Yeah.
actually, yun yung isang added value na nakikita ko right now. Most of the time, negotiation, I can imagine a time where yung AI mga tools very effective na about matching yung job to the right candidate and vice versa. And then making the interview process a good experience for clients, for hiring managers and candidates. That's doable now with, the tools and platforms that we have. Getting updates, notifications, that's really doable. Scalable as well. But probably the trickier part would be around negotiation.
Correct.
And that's where we come in.
Oo, tama.
That's where we come in. Sobrang critical ng negotiation skills right now for a recruiter. Sobra.
Ikaw, sige, huling
Yeah.
hirit, no? We're at the hour, but
Sure.
how did you get started as a recruiter?
Sorry?
How did you get started as a recruiter? Was that always your career
That's right.
plan?
Well, I'm a graduate of computer science.
Oh, yun pa,
And
di ba?
then those graduates in that decade, I also joined BPO, enjoyed it, customer service, technical support. And then I joined IBM, DAX, but part of service desk, promoted to data networks for a short period of time. But I didn't like it. Hindi pa naman siya kasing exciting like software development during that time. You know, I packed my bags, went to Malaysia. Nauuso na yun eh, mga Filipinos going to Singapore, Malaysia, trying to see if they can get a job. So I was fortunate at, I met this Malaysian who owns an IT consulting and then majority of his employees are actually from the Philippines.
Yeah.
So he kind of experimented if I can join and bring more Filipinos. So I ended up enjoying recruitment and I worked there for about 7 years, basically bringing in hundreds of Filipinos to Malaysia for legacy systems pa because I was recruiting for banks and insurance. So AS400, mainframe. And then, I got the opportunity to go to Singapore, really, started recruiting for yung mga digital transformation projects. And then pandemic happened. I was contemplating whether to stay in Singapore or move back to the Philippines. But I thought, yeah, this is probably the best time, 10 years overseas exposure, good enough na.
But as a
Balik na.
recruiter, yeah, no? Abroad, you were
Oo.
already a recruiter.
Sa Malaysia na ako ng recruitment experience. I did not look back, like I thought it would be just a trial for a couple of years and then try to find another IT job. But I really ended up enjoying it. At least I could still use yung knowledge to be able to converse. And then eventually, I ended up really liking it. I realized yung background ko is actually very unique pa nga for a recruiter. Doing
And
IT
the fact that you
recruitment.
came from computer science and
Yeah,
became
that's
a
right.
recruiter.
That's right.
Oo.
Kasi during that time, wala pang AI. So most of the search is done through keyword search. No, not many people would know how to use context understanding to be able to find a candidate, di ba? So that's where actually I think yung leverage ko, being able to understand yung nuances of, various technologies. Sometimes I find a role based on, okay, I think this specific company will probably have this, even if hindi written sa profile nila. I'm sure they will have this technology. So I find that very useful. Yeah, I went back to the Philippines, pandemic, and then oh my God, I was so shocked that majority of the recruitment agencies are still generalists and transactional. Kasi in Singapore,
So ikaw lang yung private banker. Everyone is like a like a
Kasi
teller.
Singapore, you will go to a coffee shop, for example, and you will see there yung mga sobrang, like wearing very formal attire, and then people having a conversation. But if you know what to look for and what to listen for, you will realize, oh my God, they're doing interviews. Kasi mga recruiters sila, that they're headhunting people for their clients. And they usually do that at coffee shops. So it's really, usually one conversation will take about minimally an hour, really trying to understand the candidate. In the Philippines, apparently, it's not too common. Maybe because start na ng pandemic, no one's really doing that. But I feel not many agencies are asking difficult questions during conversations, really trying to understand what the candidate's looking for. Not many agencies are even asking about counter offer scenarios. Because for me, if you're in IT, if you're recruiting for IT professional, assume muna may counter offer yan.
Yeah.
You need to prepare for counter offer, but apparently not many people wants to have the difficult conversations.
Yeah, we're very passive aggressive sa Philippines. And
That's right.
that
So
means we
that's where
avoid
the opportunity for us,
that,
being
yeah.
very young recruitment agency, we started getting some traction, becoming a preferred agency for at least 8 of our clients. Like they would tell us, okay, preferred vendor na namin kayo. We will give yung technology jobs sa inyo lang exclusively. So yeah, I think it was really probably it's because there are only very few agencies who have the appetite to let go of the other functions and focus in just one function or one specific specialization.
Yep.
Majority still wants to cater to all HR, accounting, technology. Hire na lang tayo ng mas marami, but it won't work nowadays. I'm sure you have observed that for AI then, di ba? You need to have
Yep.
specialization muna, really be good about that
You
domain
mean
before
to
you move
recruit?
on.
To recruit? Yeah.
Mm,
Kasi wala pa ako na-meet actually.
yeah,
Na or maybe because there haven't been that many, but recruiters in the AI space, they're attempting to hire the same way they hire like software developers.
that's why
Yeah.
other roles, di ba? For other uh even other verticals or functions. Ganun nga, it doesn't work. Nowadays, kailangan mo mag-specialize. At least that's what I think is effective within recruitment agency.
Yeah.
You will be spreading yourself very thin if you want to solve all problems.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
Sige,
Mm.
well, we're at the
Thanks.
hour. Really
Yeah,
good conversation.
that's right.
And yeah, I want to thank Angel for enlightening us on how recruiters think. I hope people got some tips from that. Yeah, and I hope to see you again in another conversation,
That's
Angel.
right.
All
Thank
the
you again and
all the
enjoy the
be-
rest of your day.
all the best pala yung mga recruitment targets mo. I hope you hit them all.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.